Hello, YouTube. Deranged Clown here. Street Deranged Clown here. You can see I'm a little bit rough, but that's part of being a street clown. Hardcore street clown. That's right. I drink my soda pop without ice and I put real butter and copious amounts of salt on the popcorn. I'm like hardcore. Like street. Yeah, anyways. Um, so, um, I just want to do a quick little video, and I've just been kind of thinking about something, and it's kind of an interesting thought. So, I've done a video about stammers in the past, and it's a good video. Hint, hint, you probably want to watch it or not. The backdrop's better, and the lighting's a lot better, and I don't look like with this lighting here, I don't look like some alien being from Mars. But I just want to delve into that topic again of having a stammer and what it means. But before I dive into that, if I do sound a little bit off, I've been trying to stay one step ahead of a cold now for about the past week or two. And unfortunately, the past couple of days, it's caught up to me. So, yeah, so if I sound off and a little bit hoarse, that's because I'm finally dealing with the cold that's been lurking. Um, I suspect I know how I got it, but anyways, it's not important. It's just, this time of year it's going to happen, so oh well. But I just want to delve um, into something that I find to be very, very fascinating. And that is, how do people view stutters and stammers? And it's interesting. I'm old enough, you can tell by my portable solar panel on my head, that I've been around for a while. Not that long, but long enough. And when I was younger, back in the 80s, I'm an 80s child, still an 80s punk. I just find different ways to be a punk now, but I'm still a punk, 80s style. Um, when I was younger, with a speech impediment, people didn't know what to make of it. And one of the ideas that they had was it's a brain malfunction. And quite frankly, they didn't know. But there's a singer named Mel Tillis, and a really good singer. I've heard his music. He was quite a talented singer, and he had a horrible stutter, just terrible stutter, but he could sing beautifully. And people saw that, and they said, maybe it's not a brain malfunction. And then from there, speech pathology got a lot better. And then they figured out that it's just breathing patterns. That's all it is. You work with those, the stutter, the stammer goes away. And I can understand someone in, say, 1988 or 1992 or even 1999 or 2000 thinking, oh, well, is it because they're mentally ill? Is it a brain malfunction? I can see that. But we are in 2024, and people should know that. Now, I get that if there were a magazine called Speech Pathology Weekly, it would go bankrupt really quickly because people just aren't interested in that. But I think that the knowledge that speech impediments are caused by breathing patterns has been absorbed into society enough by 2025. I mean, come on. And so I think people who make those assumptions about someone, including myself, but not only myself, they really have no excuse. And it's just sad to see. I can see why maybe someone back in 1991 may have said, oh, well, is it because they're not quite all there? But in the year 2025, come on. We all know that. It's part of the pop culture. It's escaped into the wild from the speech pathology literature into the popular culture. And there's just no excuse for someone to make those assumptions. And I just find it to be funny. And I think now, if someone says, well, I think you're not quite all there, or you're mentally ill, or your brain's not working quite right, or you think faster than you talk, and blah, 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 I think that they're covering for something. And one of the things I've noticed, for example, is that when someone wants to feel superior, they will point out a speech impediment as, see, you're defective. And I think a lot of times the people who do that have their own insecurities. I know of one particular case, not going to name names. This is someone who has difficulty pronouncing words, certain words, which, there's nothing wrong with that. It's standard. It's not unheard of. It's very common. But I think that they may be trying to compensate for that insecurity by saying, oh, well, you have a stammer. So just to give a good example of that phenomena, at company X, where I may or may not be employed at, because, there's electronically assisted communications. I'll leave it at that. And recently, not recently, well, maybe recently, maybe not. I use that in a relativistic way. At a point in time, better said, I decided that I would quit using that communication method because of all the toxic language I was used, as well as, there were people who would make the Chatty Cathy doll say, hey, shut up. All right. Those of you who are not aware of what the Chatty Cathy doll is, it's an old doll. I'm not sure if they still make them, but it's a doll that just goes on and on and on and on and on and on. And I don't know if they still make it, but this person just can go hour after hour after hour after hour talking. They're worse than me. I'll do a video for maybe 10 minutes or so, and then I'll be quiet for half the day collecting my thoughts. This person it's train of thought, unfiltered train of thought. And I get it, they need to talk and all, but man, that gets annoying. So I don't use that communication method. Also, a lot of the stuff that is said is very toxic, and I choose not to have anything to do with toxic stuff. So I just ignore it. I want nothing to do with it. I suppose there is intel value there, but quite frankly, it's not worth the headache or the hassle, so I just ignore it. But this person assumes that, oh, it's because of your stammer. Well, I have successfully, and I can successfully use that communication method. I've demonstrated it. I just choose not to use it unless I absolutely have to, and then I will. And when that need arises, I can do it. But this person thinks, oh well, I don't use it because I'm incapable, and I find it to be comical. It's like, wait a minute, were this 1977? I can probably understand someone thinking that. It would at least be plausible that they were unaware of speech pathology, but trends in speech pathology, better said. But we're in 2025, and I just find it to be comical. I find it to be comical when people judge a person on a speech impediment. It's just, I'll say this again. I said it in the previous video I did, and this is getting rather long-winded. I'm sneaking up on 12 minutes now. If any of you watching this either has a speech impediment or is aware of someone who does have one, or maybe has a friend or a family member who has a speech impediment, and if you see them being judged and ridiculed, or if you yourself are experiencing it, just bear this in mind. What you're seeing isn't a condemnation of the target of the ridicule. What you are witnessing is a display of the failure of character of the accuser. The lack of character is what's on display. And so just don't worry about it. Just go about your life. Go about your day. If you have to, just get a good little chuckle from it. I think it's funny how I can sit, and talk for all day without one speech, hiccup, and yet they'll just pounce on the little things. It's just like, come on. Really? Anyways, and I don't know if it's from ignorance or attitude or compensation or whatnot, nor do I really care. All I know is that if someone is belittled for a speech impediment, all it shows is that the belittler lacks the character to be a good person. And quite frankly, that's a good reason to seriously consider not having anything to do with them ever. Because, well, yeah. Anyways, this video is getting way too long, so, alright.